Get your running shoes on. It's time to run or walk for a cause that matters. Join Gilda's Run Walk Sunday, October 5th in Middleton to support local families facing cancer. Run a self-timed 5K, walk 2 miles, or jumpstart with their free Couch to 5K program. And at the finish line, enjoy burgers, ice cream, and fun for all ages. Register by August 31st for early bird pricing and the official event t-shirt. Sign up now at gildasrunwalk.com. This is CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about.
Today on CityCast Madison, welcome to the Friday News Roundup. I am not Bianca Martin. I am executive producer Haley Sperling, and with me today is my all-star team, producer Jade Isiri Ramos. Hi, Jade.
Hi, Haley.
And our newsletter editor, Rob Thomas. Hey, Rob.
Hey, Haley, I am also not Bianca Martin.
None of us are Bianca Martin.
Just to clarify, yeah.
Thank you for that clarification. Before we get into our stories, a little business up at the top. Y'all know that we are a listener-supported show, and we are able to do what we do because of folks like you who decide to step up and support us financially. Plus, there are perks to that financial support. We're actually in the middle of planning our next Neighbors event. So if you want to join, get an exclusive invite to this exclusive event. I'm not going to tell you guys what it is yet because it's very fun. But you guys, Jade, I know you're excited for this one.
Yeah, I'm excited to do this fun activity with our fun neighbors and have a fun time.
It's a very Madison-coded thing. Rob's going to be there too.
I'm very excited. Yeah, we had such a good time at our last member event, the Muskie. But I feel like this is a level up a little bit.
Yes, it certainly is.
Yeah.
It's more of an activity than just getting drinks and chit-chatting.
Although it may also be that.
Yeah, true. We do love getting drinks and chit-chatting.
There you go.
We do love a chit chat. So neighbors, if you're listening, we hope you are. Watch your inbox over the next week for that invite. And if you want to get in on this invite, you can join us today at membership.citycast.fm. Like I said, you will get that perk of being invited to what we are cooking up for our member event next month. Plus, we got other perks like ad-free listening, our members events email, and so much more. So we are so happy to have our support from all of our neighbors. And like we said, we got some exciting stuff planned for you. But enough of that. We are ready to go and get into this Friday News Roundup. Jade, you are kicking us off this week with a story that we've been watching play out around the country and is now getting more attention here in Wisconsin and Dane County. What's up?
Yeah, so this is less of a fun story, certainly less fun than we will have at this neighbor event that we're doing next month, but is important. So a new report from the ACLU Wisconsin finds that 13 of Wisconsin's 72 county sheriff's departments have contracts with the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Their report, titled The Jail to Deportation Pipeline in Wisconsin, focuses on so-called 287G agreements signed by ICE and local sheriffs. 287G refers to Section 287G of the Immigration and Nationality Act, which became law in 1996. I'm just going to refer to these as contracts from now on because the 287G agreements, it gets a little confusing.
Yeah, that's too much.
Yeah, so sheriffs in these 13 Wisconsin counties serve warrants from ICE to undocumented individuals who are being held in local jails. They may also identify people in custody as undocumented and detain them until ICE picks them up. So basically, depending on the contract, sometimes ICE IDs someone and the sheriff serves them a warrant, and sometimes the sheriff IDs someone, holds them, and informs ICE. It is worth noting that just because someone is being held in a county jail, it doesn't mean that they've committed a crime. People are in county jails before they are sentenced. Dane County is not among these 13 counties. The closest county to us where one of these contracts is enacted is in Waukesha. We all know that Sheriff Calvin Barrett in Dane County has been very vocally opposed to cooperating with ICE, so I imagine that it doesn't surprise you that Dane County is not on this list of 13 counties.
No, that is not surprising at all to me. I mean, Dane County, we're moving away from calling ourselves or using the term sanctuary county or sanctuary city for any sort of purposes because we know now that that gets you put on governmental lists. But we can still see that same sentiment reflected in our actions, or rather, I guess, inactions here in the fact that our county, Dane County, does not have one of these contracts with ICE.
And just like you said, Haley, the actions, there is an action currently happening for which Dane County Sheriff Calvin Barrett is facing some political heat. This surrounds a case of a woman who was charged with driving while intoxicating and killing 2 young adults outside of DeForest in July. The accused is undocumented, and the U.S. Department of Homeland Security is criticizing Barrett for not complying with their request for an ICE hold. Basically what they want, if she was to post bond, they want the Dane County Sheriff's Office to hold her. Barrett told WKOW that if DHS had an arrest warrant, the county would honor that, but at this point, it's just a detainment request, and the county does not honor that sort of request. He said, quote, "This is about process and not about politics, and it seems like DHS is making this about politics." Rob, I know you wrote about this story for the newsletter last week. Is there anything else about this case and the spat between the county sheriff and ICE that stood out to you?
Well, I remember seeing something Barrett said in an interview, which basically is, you follow due process. These 2 young adults were killed, and part of due process is going, charging the person and going through that process, and to sort of take them out of that, even if they are an undocumented immigrant, really denies the possibility of justice in this case. I think that's what he was saying. And that's, I think, why he's pushing so hard and so vocally about this. So in some ways it sounds very technical, right? Arrest warrant versus arrest request. But I think underlying it, at least from his perspective, is this idea that this is a judicial process. You follow that process no matter who it is, and you don't make these special workarounds because it denies people, on all sides, due process.
In that same interview that you're referring to, he said this is essentially letting someone be deported in this scenario is letting someone off with a get out of jail free card because they wouldn't be held responsible for their actions.
Right. I mean, how different is that than if they fled the country?
Right. Fleeing the country with the support of ICE.
Exactly.
Yeah. It is worth noting at the time of this recording, this is all sort of a moot point because the woman at the center of this case has not posted bail and she's still in the Dane County Jail. So regardless, we're arguing about something that hasn't happened yet.
It's still very tough, and a case that will definitely have a lot of rippling effects and consequences that you guys noted. So definitely something that we're going to be keeping our eyes on. And, we've got more news to get into, but first, let's take a quick break.
When you hear entrepreneur or investor, who comes to mind? If it's not someone who looks like the fleece-vested bros or sitting in the Shark Tank chairs, that's the problem. At Doyen, they champion women and marginalized gender individuals building audacious businesses and supporting investing in the future of innovation. Doyen supports the whole person, professionally and personally, because building a business shouldn't mean sacrificing who you are. Whether you're just starting out, scaling fast, planning your exit, or want to learn how to invest in the next big thing, they've got your back. They're a nonprofit with virtual programs and ongoing opportunities available year-round. Visit www.doyengroup.org to get involved. Let's build an entrepreneurial ecosystem that reflects all of us. Remember that amazing little cafe you discovered last summer with the perfect latte and crazy view? Or that sweet hiking spot your friend told you about but you can't remember the name? With Overlook Maps, special places never get lost again. Create personal lists of places you've been and want to go. Build your must-visit list for your next vacation, your foodie favorites for date nights, or your weekend getaways when you need to escape. Share your favorite hidden gems with friends and family. Let them discover that incredible barbecue joint you found or that scenic overlook that takes your breath away. Or keep your secret spots completely private. Planning a trip with friends? Create a shared list where everyone can add their ideas. Visiting a new city? Check out lists from locals who know the real gems, not just the tourist traps. And here's the best part. No ads cluttering your lists. No one selling your data to advertisers. Just your personal collection of amazing places organized exactly how you want them. Overlook Maps, collect, organize, and share the places that matter to you. Download free at overlookmaps.com and check out overlookmaps.com/Madison to see some of our lists and great spots on a map and in your pocket. Your places, your way.
And we are back. I am up next with a story, or several rather, about housing here in Madison. So as you guys may or may not know, construction is underway on a multi-million-dollar permanent men's shelter over on Bartolon Drive. I'm going to be straight up with you guys. I don't know how to say this street name. If someone can call in and tell me how to say it, because I've tried to listen to broadcast news and people are saying it multiple different ways. I always want to say Bartolian Drive, but I don't think that's right. I digress. It's over on the east side of town, kind of near the airport. This is a city and county funded project that has been in the works for a couple of years. So it's something that we are aware of, and it's something that's been going on for a while. And it's making headlines now, not necessarily because of construction costs, but because officials are warning that they don't have enough funds to operate the shelter as a 24/7 facility as they had initially planned. So this is according to reporting from our friend Liam Barron over at Isthmus. It's going to cost roughly $4.2 million annually to run this shelter 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But currently, there's only $1.2 million budgeted for these services. So yikes. Jade, I see the look on your face, and it is a big old yikes.
Yeah, I'm not like really good with budgets, but that's a big discrepancy. Like you can't stretch $1.2 million to be $4.2 million.
No, even in this economy, I mean, we are thrifty, but we cannot be that thrifty. And it's a problem because, here's the deal. A 24/7 shelter is desperately needed in Madison. Right now, we don't have any 24/7 facilities. So people who are utilizing these facilities basically have to spend their days bouncing from place to place, navigating check-in times, keeping their belongings safe, and caring for themselves as human beings along the way. So it's a really hard thing to balance. And since the pandemic, there has only been an increased need for these services. Again, the numbers have said that there has been a 3 times increase in demand at services and shelters since the pandemic began in 2020. So that's a really staggering thing to think about. And I want to break down the numbers really quickly. As of January 2025, roughly 800 people in Dane County were reported to be unhoused during the, quote, point in time survey. And that's the survey where literally volunteers go out on the street and they talk to people and they say, basically like, are you unhoused? Like, do we mark you off in this survey right now? And so it's not the best system. It's kind of what we've got. So that's to say 800 people were recorded. There are probably more out there. That was January 2025. This is compared to 630 people in 2020. So this is a big increase. It's also really troubling to know that people of color account for roughly 58% of that 800 number, while only making up 16% of Dane County's population. So I'm curious to get your takes. Like, how do these numbers strike y'all? Are we surprised about this increase? Are we surprised about the racial disparities? Does anything surprise us anymore?
I mean, look where we're living. It's not surprising that there's going to be, in a city with an affordable housing crisis, there's going to be more homeless. And it seems like it's only going to get worse in the next 4 years, quite honestly, with less and less support from the federal government coming in.
I think this racial disparity that you are bringing up, Haley, is just an example of how when the ball gets dropped again and again to addressing the needs of people of color in Madison, it can lead to having this hugely disproportionate amount of people ending up in some of the most dire situations in our county. Also, I think that there is just something really striking about what you were talking about people trying to move their whole lives around from like 3 different spots or more throughout the city, and all the discrimination, I think, that comes with that as people who are perceived as being unhoused, if they're perceived that way in our community, right? There's plenty of places that don't want people hanging out for long periods of time, et cetera, et cetera. And I think it's really disheartening there isn't a place that is 24/7, and the place that could be 24/7 financially is not going to be able to be that.
Yeah, it's a really tough situation. And especially too in the summertime, like with all this heat that we've been facing and the air quality that we've been having, like folks who don't have a home to go to are left outside to deal with the elements. And that's just really scary situation. And kind of adding insult to injury, Rob, you mentioned the federal funding situation. The tiny shelter community, if you guys recall, over on Dairy Drive, is set to close at the end of September. And that's after federal pandemic relief money that it's relied on to operate will run dry. So again, that means more people all vying for fewer resources. Of course, we know that Madison's housing crisis isn't new. We've been talking about it on this show forever. We've had the mayor on to talk us through her plan of attack. But, the problem here is, despite the city's best effort, we're really not moving fast enough and we're not building enough affordable housing. Again, this is according to ISMIS. The median monthly rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Madison is roughly $1,448. That's a big number to me. I'm thinking about like my first one bedroom apartment in Madison. I lived in honestly, it was a really nice one bedroom on State Street. And I want to say I paid $1,145. And even then that was stretching it on my, $42,000 public media salary at the time. So it's rough out there. It's really rough out there.
Yeah. When I moved to Madison in 2017, I lived in a house that had some work to be done, but I was paying like $800 a month. So like for this to be where we're at, nearly double what I was paying is kind of crazy.
I moved to Madison in 1999, and I will not tell you what I paid in rent because it will just make you mad.
It was a peanut butter sandwich.
Basically, I baked a pie every day and gave it to my landlord, and that was it.
There are still some landlords out there that will accept pie as payment. We do love Madison like that. No,
that's right.
I'm just kidding. So it's a big issue. So, where does the shelter go from here? Of course, private fundraising efforts are ongoing. There are hopes to create an endowment for this to, kind of have a little bit of breathing room. ISMIS also reports that the city's community development division has requested an additional $1 million for the shelter's operation in a budget supplement request that was recently sent to Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway. Of course, $1 million isn't going to be enough to reach that $4.2 million figure, but it's a good start. So, there's a lot going on when it comes to housing. There is a bright side here. A proposal has recently come through on the east side for a 241 unit building over at the intersection of Packers and Commercial Avenues, where the apartments would be available for households earning less than the area median income. So yay for that. It's like affordable-ish, but like more so like workforce housing, just like places where people who work honest jobs get to live in a nice apartment. But on the flip side of that, over on the west side, construction of a 3-story, 138-unit apartment building is being held up in court for the however manyth time after residents in the area had come out in opposition to this building project. They were opposed to the building size, as well as the potential for flooding, traffic, and noise. We really don't have enough time to get into that case because there has been a whole bunch of legal back and forth. But what really concerns me here about this situation specifically is how the actions of few can impact so many. I mean, this is a 138-unit apartment. It is 3 stories tall. We are not talking about building, East Wash size buildings over on Old Sauk Road. That's not what's happening here. Our city is growing. And at this rate, we are growing painfully. The mayor has said it. Everyone has said it. We need housing of all sizes in all locations at all price points. And, the thing about community is that sometimes the cost of it is inconvenience. We do all have to give up a little bit on our our own in order to benefit the greater good. So we'll be watching what's going on here. This battle for housing in Madison, I don't want to say battle, but this saga of development and homelessness and everything that's going on with this story is something that we're going to be covering for a long, long time and is going to impact a lot of folks in our community, really everyone, because we all need housing. And, speaking of community, we've got another packed weekend of events here in Madison, and we are going to tell you all about it. But first, we're going to take a quick break.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
As a sports fan, I have to confess. Sometimes the game gets kind of boring. That's when I unfold my Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7 and use multi-window viewing on its large screen. Boring game? I'm checking out my fantasy baseball league at the same time. Score still 1-0? I'm replying to emails in the other window, scoring points with the boss. Semifinals finally getting exciting? I'm buying tickets to the finals and booking my flights. Can your phone do that?
The new Galaxy Z Fold 7. Get yours at Samsung.com.
We are back, and it is an exciting weekend. It's a busy weekend. It's a packed weekend. It's a summer weekend in Madison. Rob, what's going on?
Yeah, my Google Calendar is full this weekend. It's one of I have all those little colored squares. I think the biggest thing this weekend is Ride the Drive is coming back Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., which really impacts the downtown because over 2 miles of downtown streets will be closed to cars, to vehicle traffic. So if you're planning on driving downtown, do not go on near John Nolan Drive or Willie Street. They'll be closed basically from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. It starts at Olin Park and then goes up North John Nolan Drive to the Hairball intersection with Blair and Willie Street, and then heads east on Willie Street to Ingersoll. So all that, if you ever wanted to bike or roller skate or rollerblade or walk or push your stroller or whatever in the middle of those streets, you can do that safely during those hours on Sunday. It's a pretty cool event. And it's not just for just walking back and forth. Along the way, they'll have 4, I guess they call them park hubs, which are sort of like little neighborhood festivals where there'll be like, live music and food and kids games and more. So it's a really fun way to get downtown. Have you guys ever done the Ride the Drive?
It's one of those events that I've kind of like accidentally walked into. Like I didn't plan.
I drove through it. Sure.
I drove through it. Yeah.
So I guess I went. Yeah.
It's one of those events where it's like I was out on a walk and kind of stumbled into it. And I was like, this is fun. This is so Madison. And this was like, before I really knew what anything was. But it's a big annual event. And like you said, Rob, like it shuts down the streets. Like that is a major intersection. And it's pretty cool that the city does that. And it's kind of just like a big FU to cars and whatnot. When you're like, don't bring your cars, don't come. I have that video of former UW administrator Lori Berkwam when she was talking about Mifflin. This is like deep Madison lore kind of. But she was like, do not come. Right. Do not come to Mifflin. Like, don't go. And that's what I'm getting from that.
Speaking of deep Madison lore, I do remember Mayor Paul Soglin, past mayor, not liking Ride the Drive for that very reason and taking it as an FU to car. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure about that. He was not a fan. But it's cool. Yeah. I mean, I took the kids, they were younger when we went down there. It is cool just to be in the middle of like one of the signature streets in Madison, on your bikes and just kind of hanging out with people. It's really fun.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try to go this year. I'm trying to figure out which direction I want to join because they're both sort of equidistant from my house. So it's like, which one has the most like inclines on the way there and the most declines on the way back.
Okay. Strategic.
And you'll be biking?
I'll be biking, yeah. I love my bike.
Sunday is also it's really busy. This is right after Ride the Drive. Sunday is also the kickoff to Madison Black Restaurant Week. which you can learn more of by listening to Thursday's podcast interview with Bianca and Camille Carter of the Madison Black Chamber of Commerce. And so it goes all week with, special events and specials at Madison's Black-owned restaurants. And I wrote a list in the Madison Minutes newsletter about a lot of those restaurants. But there's sort of a big kickoff jamboree at Warner Park from 2 to 6 p.m. on Sunday, where you can, I think Bianca called it a taste of Black Madison, basically, where you can sample a lot of the restaurants and food carts for like $5 who are taking part in the week. So you can sort of like test drive a few places and then make plans for where you want to revisit for lunch or dinner later in the week, which runs through August 17th.
I love that. I'm super stoked. And there's so many good restaurants on that lineup too. I'm excited for the fact that like, if I spent $20 for myself, $20 for my partner, I could taste 8 things. Like that's just exciting.
The math adds up. Yeah.
It's a good deal.
Yeah. And then speaking of our podcast, on Tuesday, we talked to the owners of Lola's and the Muskie about their strip mall carnival, which they're joining forces for. That's in the parking lot of Lola's on North Sherman. You should go because it'll be a lot of fun where you can play carnival games, enjoy craft cocktails and beer and food from Lola's. You should also go because it's a fundraiser for Clean Lakes Alliance. But you should definitely go because I hear a rumor that our own Bianca Martin will be taking a turn in the dunk tank.
Oh yeah, she is. Yeah, you gonna throw a pitch at Bianca, Rob?
I would never. I have to work with her on Monday. So yeah.
Jade would.
Yeah. I can't believe that you're so strongly you wouldn't. I'm like, obviously I have to.
The thing is, I think Bianca's, when you're in the hot seat at a dunk tank, being able to successfully taunt the throwers is an essential skill. And I think Bianca would be so good at that that's the lasting damage that would be done to our relationship. I mean, first of all, I would probably miss the target anyway. But I bet her taunting game is unparalleled.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for us indoor kids, the Madison Comic and Pop Culture Expo is going on Saturday and Sunday at the Alliant Energy Center, sort of our own homegrown Comic-Con with all kinds of crazy cosplay, tabletop gaming, comics and merch for sale, and dozens of celebrities, comic book artists, voice actors, 90s pro wrestlers, and all kinds of other celebrities signing autographs. So if you ever want to meet the guy who played Niedermeyer in Animal House, now's your chance.
I love that.
Go off indoor, kids. Yeah.
That's right.
I am an indoor kid. You guys know that. No, I like the outside too sometimes. I like the inside and the outside. We got some feedback recently that we have not been giving enough love to the winter time outside. And I will say I'm very ready for fall. I'm ready for the weather to start cooling off and for us to be able to get outside without heaving our breath, at least for me. Rob, you're shaking your head. You're a summer boy.
I don't buy this that we're anti-winter propagandists. It's summer's so much shorter than winter. We have to savor it while it's here. That's how I feel. I'm not having any pumpkin spice lattes until after Labor Day.
Fair.
In January, would you go to a sweet corn festival that's outdoors? Probably not.
Absolutely not. It'd be frozen.
They'd be frozen. You hurt your teeth on those kernels, right? But August 13th through 17th, Sun Prairie has this annual sweet corn festival. And so there's live music and there's carnival rides. But come on, the attraction is that they will have 80 tons. That's 80 tons of sweet corn, all salted and buttered and ready to eat. So
that's so much.
Every year I miss the Sweet Corn Festival, and this year I really hope I don't.
Do it.
Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta get that sweet corn.
I love it. Bring some back for us. That is, wow, there are so many things going on this weekend. Insane amount of fun to be had. And so many places to shout out. And, speaking of shout outs, y'all, it is that time for our neighbor shout outs. We love hearing from our neighbors. Jade, you've got the first one.
Yeah, Brooke L. says, if you want native plants for pollinators, go to Two Ferns Native Nursery. Athena is an amazing source of knowledge and can help you with your ideas for your garden design. Brooke, I love this recommendation. I think my next garden project is a rain garden, and sounds like Two Ferns Native Nursery has got me covered there.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Nicole S. Shouted out United Way of Dane County and points out that it's a critical community convener, has the unique ability to multiply the effects of many individual nonprofits doing important work.
And lastly, we have a shout out from Harrison W. He wanted to shout out Taco Madre on Atwood Avenue. They've got delicious tacos, great guacamole, and friendly staff. And they are located over in the old Daisy's Cupcake Cafe. I love Taco Madre. This is all up in my neighborhood. I actually had my Valentine's Day lunch at Taco Madre. I don't really know how it happened, but I was thinking about this as I was reading this shout out, and it was one of those frigid cold days. But my boyfriend was like, let's walk over there. Horrible decision. It was so cold. But then on top of that, I was like, I want flowers for Valentine's Day. I've been, dropping hints saying I want flowers for Valentine's Day. And he ended up getting them delivered to the restaurant. And the restaurant folks were very nice about me having this like giant vase of flowers while we were eating our tacos.
Wow, that makes me want to go even more.
We should all have an outing. I'll bring you guys all flowers. We've got a special shout out from Jade. Normally we don't do this, but it's our podcast, so we get to do whatever we want. Jade, take us there.
We get to do whatever we want, and I get to shout out the Northwood League's champions, the Madison Nightmares.
Woo!
They put up a solid fight on Wednesday night in Game 2 of a best of 3 series against the Minot Honeybees. The Honeybees, they were fighting. I was biting my nails, but shout out to the Nightmares, who are the champions.
I love it. They are our champions. Our neighbors are our champions. If you want to give a shout out, guess what? You can. All you have to do is go to membership.citycast.fm. On top of getting shout outs, as we mentioned at the top of the show, you will get perks like members only events newsletter, ad-free podcast listening, and invites to events and so much more. It is the best way to support our work. So if you like what we do and want us to keep going, here's your opportunity to make that happen. We love our neighbors and we love hearing from you all. Your feedback is so important to us. So again, you can head to membership.citycast.fm. We really appreciate your support. And speaking of feedback, we asked and y'all delivered last week. We were talking about who's in and who's out of the 2026 gubernatorial race. And we wanted to have you guys tell us who you'd expect to see on the ballot. And we're excited to say we got a call from none other than Mr. Rob Chappell, the executive editor of Madison 365. Let's hear what he had to say.
Hey, CityCast folks. A couple gubernatorial candidates I wanted to add to the mix. The most obvious one, Mandela Barnes, who ran a very credible Senate campaign recently and has good statewide name recognition. Outagamie County Executive Tom Nelson, I think, will definitely throw his hat in at some point. He was the Lieutenant Governor nominee back in 2014. Exact Sciences CEO Kevin Conroy has toyed with the idea for several elections now. I wouldn't be surprised to see him. The one on the Dem side we know is not running. Just to add to the list, is Sarah Godlewski, who's the Secretary of State, has said that she will not run for governor, but might run for lieutenant governor. So with the current slate, there's a reasonable chance we could end up with an all-Sarah ticket for the first time in history. Thanks a lot, guys. Keep up the good work.
An all-Sarah ticket.
I love that. And of course, he's referencing our current Lieutenant Governor, Sarah Rodriguez, who has thrown her hat in the ring for governor. And if Sarah Godlewski goes in for Lieutenant Governor, then it would be Sarah and Sarah.
But spelled differently, right? I think Sarah Godlewski has an H.
You are so right. It would be Sarah and Sarah, one H. I love it. Thank you for calling, Rob. Interesting that he mentioned Carl Conroy. That is not a name that I really think about when I think about running for governor, but we have seen CEOs shoot much higher than governor of Wisconsin. All right, y'all, don't forget, we love hearing from you. Do you have questions for us? Or maybe it's a thought that's just been brewing for a while, or maybe you just want to say, hey, what's up? Give us a call at the CityCast Madison hotline. That is 608-318-3367. We'd love to hear from you. And I have loved hearing from both of you on this Friday News Roundup. Thank you both for rounding up the news with me. Jade Isiri Ramos, see you later.
Thanks, Haley.
And Rob Thomas, hashtag not that Rob Thomas, hashtag not Bianca Martin. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Haley.
That's all for today here on CityCast Madison. I'm executive producer Haley Sperling. Bianca Martin is your host. We're produced by J. Siri Ramos, and our theme music is by Carl Christensen. Additional music this week provided by Anders Fab, Camille Trust, and Nard Bearings from Triple Scoop Music via Getty Images. Rob Thomas is our newsletter editor. You can always get more news delivered right into your inbox by subscribing to Madison Minutes. If you're not subscribed to Madison Minutes, do it right now. It's free, it's fun, it's perfect, it's the best email ever. And don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Madison neighbor. All you have to do there is head to membership.citycast.fm. And one last reminder for y'all out there, CityCast Twin Cities is coming. You have the opportunity to join that team. If you would like to be part of this awesome group that produces podcasts and newsletters every day, head to citycast.fm to learn more. And if you enjoyed today's show, why not share this podcast with someone you'd like to see run for governor? All right, y'all, we will be back Monday morning with more news from around the city. Until then, take care.